to dress a certain way. They don't understand that there's an age difference because there's supposed to be a level of respect of your body just the same way that you're telling them to respect theirs. So we need to make sure that we're not living a life of hypocrisy in front of our youth. And not just your own kids, anybody that you actually model around. And I'm not saying there's any perfect way that we should dress, because I could care less, really. That's my least worry about how you dress your outer body. My personal dress is how you dress your spirit and your soul by your actions on how you treat people. And that is what's really key in today's society, in the house. And I am just applauding you because you're reaching out to strangers. You're reaching out to people who you don't even know. And you are allowing them in your space to allow them to vent so that they can create and be a part of your environment so you can help them produce. And when it's funny because as a producer, as a writer, you're allowing them to find their creative place. And through that producing, you're allowing them to birth a new person through that production that you all are, because they see the life that they don't want to live in. So that is just wonderful. And so in final closing, I want you to think about that last song that played when I was talking about Restore Me. It said, I need your grace, I need your mercy, I need your love. And I know behind the scenes we were talking about how that's the first thing that you talk about in your ministry, Restore. So let's talk about how do we get to that place of restoration in our lives.
Well, Team What's the Rush? The Rush portion stands for Restoring Unity to Build Stronger Homes.
Okay.
Again, we have to get down to the root of the problem. Until we can get to the root of the problem, there's no way to restore it. You can't restore something that's not first found out about what's going on. You got to go down deep and get that stuff that we buried, like I said before. So when you go and things that have happened in your past and they're uncovered and revealed, and you deal with it. Not just say, okay, yeah, that happened to me. Okay, let's talk about something else. When you go deep and deal with those things that did hurt, however long it was, and you're ready to deal with them, meaning this happened, I lived through it, I might have birthed a couple of children from it, especially in a domestic relationship. But now what? How do I get past this? And how do I teach my children that life was not okay to live? It was not okay to accept. It was not okay to stay. Whatever the case might be, that's when you begin the process of restoration. Developing more self-esteem, developing the things that were lost. When you're in a domestic situation, a lot of times it starts off emotional, where you're told that you're no good, you're beat down, appearances, things like that is what tears a soul apart. And when you begin to love yourself, and I'm in love with God, when you begin to allow God to come into your life and come into that situation, give you the strength and the boldness to get out of that situation, then you can see what your life is supposed to be, because we're all born with our own destiny.
Oh, yes.
So it's up to us to discover it and go to toward the right path. And so, again, once you begin to realize that this is not the life that you're supposed to live, I don't want to be in this situation anymore. God is not going to allow you to be defeated. But you first have to want to change. Your restoration comes from that. You don't just wake up one day and say, okay, well, I'm leaving, because it's a whole lot you have to think about. That's why women stay.
Yeah, because it's a lot of other
children,
issues.
You have finances. Yeah, it's a whole lot of reasons why people stay.
Yeah.
But there's a whole lot more reasons to leave.
Yeah.
Your health, your children, your sanity.
Your sanity, yeah. Yeah, but you know what I visualized when you were just talking about that restoration and about finding the root of the issue. You know how a tree, it looks like it's still living? It's still living. A tree will live a long time through the rotting process. it's a dying. It takes years for a tree to actually die and actually fall. What actually happens first, and when you can tell that you're rooted in the wrong place, it was when you stop producing fruit. Because when that tree begins to die, it stops producing fruit. Is the first stage that you know you're in a dying relationship, and that is how you need to know that you need to uproot that tree. You need to move it. Sometimes you just got to chop it down and start all over, and that's the thing that we are. Yeah, sometimes that's the thing that we are afraid of, because we feel like, well, what it is, we ashamed because what somebody gonna say in the world. We lost our house, we lost our man, we had to live someplace less than what somebody else thought. We had to give up some fabulous clothes, or because we don't want our children to have to go to another school. We don't want them to have to be embarrassed. But the thing is, what are we teaching them? Are we teaching them that material stuff is worth more than actually living and breathing, actually producing what God wants us to do? Like you said, we got to discover it, and we can't discover it as long as we stagnant, sitting someplace rotten.
Bound by the situation.
Yeah, and that's where we stay. We stay in bondage. We stay in bondage a lot. And actually, that's when we were talking about in that song, "There's a Light," which we talked about Todd Smith, because he was talking about at the end of the tunnel. And a lot of times we don't ever find our end of the tunnel because we don't have a light in our lives. We depend on other people to be our flashlight, and a lot of times we don't ever open ourselves up. And especially youth, they're always following somebody else, whether it's their peers, whether it's another adult. They never dig within themselves to find that actual light to release themselves to get free. And that's what I like about your program, the creativity that it digs deep within that individual person to get. They don't have to actually want to be a playwright. They don't actually have to want to be a producer. But the thing is, because you allow them to vent and find that light within themselves, that helps them find that direction that they need to go in, that healthy direction, a healthy way, without having to get locked up to find God. A lot of people say they find up the jail ministry. We don't want everybody to have to find a ministry in jail. We don't want everybody to have to find a ministry because something life changing happened in their life to shake them. So it's a good way to be able to get it out, to find that destiny without having to go down that, like you say, that extra path, that extra door that we don't want to be open. One of the things that I want you to talk about, because I want everybody to tell the date of the play about "I Love You to Death" that's coming up, so that everybody knows. Because the thing is, I believe there are some people who like to be undercover, like you said, healed, and don't want to talk about it. Even if they don't want to talk about it, a good way to always talk about things is go to a play, go to a movie, because you can identify with people in there, and that is a good place to start the conversation. How do you start the conversation? The play, the movie, the realistic things that go on. Y'all start by going to see the drama, to bring out the drama that really exists in your life, so you can really deal with some of the issues. So tell us the date of that play, how people can get their tickets, how people can support the different productions that you put on, so that we can actually empower our youth to be creative.
Okay. The play "I Love You to Death" will premiere on October the 2nd. That's a Sunday at 3 p.m. And it will require you to be there at 3. Why? Because we have an awesome red carpet event, followed by the production right after that. From start to finish, it's captivating. It is definitely an experience. It is definitely something that you hear it all the time, life-changing. But I promise you, you will not leave the way you came. That's a guarantee. From start to finish, you're going to be so captivated, and you're going to find yourself in some situation, whether it's you personally, whether it's a family member, co-worker, or friend. You're going to see something that reminds you of a conversation or an incident that is taking place. And that from that, you're going to want to make a change. You're going to want to say, you know what, friend, I saw a production the other day, and it reminded me of some things that we talked about. Let me help you get out of this situation. So regardless of if this is your situation or someone that you know, you will not be able to leave that theater the same way that you came. "I Love You to Death" will take you on a generational journey from 1973 to current.
All right.
In the midst of all of that, that's some years, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That's 42, 43 years. Um, and in our households and our families, we have many years past that of generational curses that have to be broken. Do you believe that generational curses can be broken? Yes, they can, but you gotta have to be a willing party, willing participant in order for it to be broken. Do you want the life that you are destined to live, or are you okay being stagnant? Do you want to be the person that has built an empire that has left a legacy for your children? If your answer is yes, then you need to be in the house on October the 2nd at 3 o'clock, because we're going to show you. It's kind of like taking a look in your past and bring you to the future. And what you do when you leave is not going to be just up to you. You ask for help. You show that you want help in getting out of a situation. We're there. We're not going to just leave you alone to fend for yourself. We have life coaches and we have lay people that are right there willing and ready to assist you to make that next step. On October the 2nd at 3 p.m., the tickets are only $20. There's 2 levels still left. Everything else is already sold out. General admission is $20. Tier 1 is $25. And every seat in the building, honestly, is amazing, where you will be able to witness everything that you're there for. So please, please, please go to www.teenswhatstherush.org and purchase your tickets. We have family pack specials there for you as well. It's very affordable. It's not about the cost. It's all about making those life changes. And we need to see you there. Also, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
So it's Teens What's the Rush? And as she said, it's not about just your teenagers, but definitely come to the house with your teenagers, because you want them to see that you've changed, that you're open for the conversation. This is the conversation starter that we can have with our youth so we can make a change for the next generation. There's a lot of brokenness. There's a lot of curses. There's a lot of baggage that we carry around, and then we put that baggage on our youth. So we are here today to improve our relationships, first with God, with ourselves, and others. So I thank you all for joining us again here at 108praise.com for the Relationship Hour. I thank Miss Sherrell Anderson. Y'all remember Teens What's the Rush? Our last song that we are closing the night out with is Unspoken. It is called Higher, because that's where we're going from here. We're going higher. Sometimes you have to be brought down to get up high, and that is what Unspoken is talking about, getting down on your knees so that the Holy Spirit and the Father can bring you to a higher level. Good night, you all. We joined you.